No, I mean, you already shared your full thoughts on the film. I don't know where we could like go deeper into it and in the spoiler discussions, I guess, talk about it more. I think something that stands out definitely is the CGI. I
Oh
think the
yeah.
latter half of the film is definitely stronger than the first. I don't know if we
Yep.
disagree on that, but I think the
No,
pacing kind
I
of
I
picks
do.
up. Yeah, okay, I'm glad to be on the same page with you on that. And then I guess there's, yeah, like you said, a bunch of goofy CGI scenes that made me kind of laugh out in the theater that I was sitting pretty much alone in. There was like one other person. And I went to see this, and yeah, we both found it kind of funny how it was just like he was just flapping around, and the camera was just like manically just like going around in
Oh,
circles, and
so we're
it was
talking about
weird.
the plane scene, yes?
The plane scene, yeah,
Okay.
such a
Since we're
odd
gonna be talking about
choice.
CGI, this plane scene that we're talking about, essentially, it starts off quite well, and I think a comment that we can quickly
Yeah,
make is that all of the
hand to hand,
hand-to-hand combat
yes.
and close-up combat is excellent.
Yeah, the combat hand to hand stuff is done super well. And I think whenever they're not just like shooting endless rounds at like a historic place or somewhere all over Prague, I'm like the stakes are higher because like you can actually feel them one to one. And this movie, a
Yep.
lot of the times, just tries to be as big as possible, as many guns and explosions as possible. You want to derail a train and jump off it. And I thought, like, from the first trailer that showed that, it looked off. The CGI looked bad in that scene. And I was like, okay, well, maybe that's just a one-off thing. But no, it's not even the worst thing that they have. That scene was like he was flapping around in the wind.
I will say that the plane scene CGI is the worst. I'm gonna say that for a fact. I think that's the worst
Yeah.
part of the CGI, and it's unfortunate. It's right at the start of the film as you are introduced to this world, and it kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth for the rest of the action because
Mhm.
that scene not only suffers from bad CGI but from bad editing. It is
Yeah.
throwing you all around the place in that scene. You have no idea. So I guess they were like, wow, this looks really bad. Let's put everything out of focus, first of all, because there was
Yeah.
a lack of focus from my. Again, I'm just going to be going off of the one screening that I saw, what is it now? 4 hours ago. So it's
Mhm.
fresh in my mind. And for
Yeah.
me, that initial viewing was this looks out of focus, and they are cutting so quickly around the entire scene. And what ended up happening was that went from, oh, wow, they're making this thing jump around this entire scene to them being like, they're jumping around to a lot of countries, and I'm losing focus of where
Mhm.
everybody is.
Well, that's maybe just because you're bad at geography. That's not
I'm
our
not, I'm
fault.
great at geography. I
Yeah.
know
Where's
that
Prague?
Prague, Europe,
Yeah. Well, that's a given. I mean, of what country is it? Is the capital of?
the capital of Prague.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, I thought Prague was the capital.
Yeah, I know it is the capital of what? Sorry, of what country?
Yeah, the country of Europe, right? The
The
United
country
Nations.
of Europe. Yeah, I guess. No, it's all kind of close. But I found it funny when like one
Can I take
character.
a guess? Can I take a guess?
Yeah, yeah. Take a guess.
It's close to Berlin and it's close to Croatia.
Yeah, it's in the middle.
Those are just other locations that were in the film, so I'm guessing.
Croatia was also in there. I totally forgot that. Yeah. It's not that close. It's to give it away, it's Czech Republic. But I found it kind of funny when
I thought that
one
was a
character
fake
who's
place.
in no, that's a totally real place. When she goes from Berlin to Vienna and it just like shows outside Vienna 21 kilometers, which seems like it's a pretty long drive. When they showed Vienna, I was like, oh, that's puts me in my happy place. I love Vienna, my favorite city in the world. And it was very funny because like the first thing they showed is like the most tourist, like the biggest tourist attraction from Vienna, the Hundertwasserhaus, and they go there immediately, and it's all set there. It was to me kind of laughable. It's like two directors from America looking up where could we set this all over Europe and going by the most
Best
famous
places to
places and like,
blow up in Europe.
yeah, people will know. Yeah, what could we blow up? Like that kind of put it on an upswing. It was like, oh, at least I'm in Vienna right now in the
Mm.
movie thing. But other than that, I think touching on the editing, I think outside of the action scenes, it was a bit off as well, right? Lingering on
Yeah,
characters a bit too long, not really knowing what they're doing.
my thoughts are that it does suffer quite a bit from editing,
Yeah,
and that is location jumping. That is within
right.
locations. There seems to be an off timing with where each character is because
Hmm.
there is the scene where Six is captured by that creepy looking
Austrian
fake
dude.
passports and
Yeah.
exactly do all that shit. once Lloyd is tranquilized, and I guess so is Six, it immediately cuts back to Lloyd standing up in Berlin in a whole different location, and then
Yeah.
cuts back to Six in the same location. And I was like, whoa, no, this doesn't make sense. Lloyd was just knocked out. You're now knocked out. You're
Mhm.
sleeping, he's awake. This makes no sense here. So again, it's coming down to a location jumping problem, a
Yeah.
scale problem. They should have restricted the location it was in. Don't let them jump around to literally every other a new country every 5 minutes, right? It should
Yeah.
be like opening part, sure. Have it set in where was the opening? Bangkok. In
Yeah.
Bangkok, fly out, land in Turkey because like, then they need crash lands in Turkey in the plane scene, and then have it set in maybe one or two other locations, but they bounce to like three or four other locations, and then there's a whole flashback scene going back even further, both in
Yeah.
time and location. So you are thrown around quite a
Yeah.
bit. I felt
Mhm.
that flashback scene could definitely have been placed at the start of the film. It could have been told in a more chronological way, and that would have
Yeah.
given a better flow to the film. It's not going to fix any of the big scale CGI problems, but I don't know why they had to go big scale because all the hand to hand combat stuff was excellently executed.
Yeah.
And if
I
they
think
just cut away all that big stuff, you've got
Mhm.
a really good action thriller on a smaller scale.
Yeah, I think the reason for bringing in that flashback a bit later is so we are kind of on the same information like we are kind of on the same level of information as Ana de Armas' character, and because she's kind of slowly attached to him, helping him out. If we already kind of knew all of his motivation, how close he is with Claire, then that would have taken that away. So it would need a bit of a rework of the whole structure. But I don't think the Ana de Armas thing was integral to the story. So I think definitely you could set him
No.
up as like this just hunted for no reason CIA operative that, or not even Sierra operative, that is just kind of used, and it's enough of a plot for us to root for him. We don't need like that other thing, although he's like, someone who kills without asking questions. But yeah, his backstory is kind of thin. And then I think it tries to tie a lot of like different things together of bringing in the theme of like failed father figures and how you, I don't know,
Mm.
outgrow that and stuff like that. It wants to bring that in towards the end with like that good match cutting. I think that was super smooth when he was like held under the water by Lloyd, and then it cuts back to his dad doing that to him. I think we could have needed a bit earlier, like you said, that flashback. Do you mean the flashback with Claire or the flashback with his dad,
With
or like
Claire.
both?
No, 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 no.
With Claire, okay.
So, well, no, look. So my one of my points I make in my review summary is the family story that they're trying to tell because obviously
Mm-hmm.
he's in prison due to him killing his father and
Yeah,
protecting his brother, which doesn't really come up until
we don't see him as
halfway
well.
75% through the film as an explanation as to why he's in prison.
Mm-hmm.
We could have easily had a summary of that at the start, but omitting certain things as to why he killed his father. Like my initial, I know we go through this quite a bit on this podcast where if we had creative control, what would we have done? And for
Yeah.
me, I would have set up that he killed his father in prison, but I won't say why he
Mm-hmm.
killed his father. I
Mm-hmm.
would have had him then like a montage of going through different countries because you can still do the whole CIA lone wolf thrown into a situation that you can't have your own operatives in montage just so
Yeah.
that he's a very effective killer, and then have one more mission where he's got to protect Claire. And then that mission with Claire is like how you can then go, he went from this killer dude to this one mission where he became essentially a family member of Claire's life because she
Yeah.
is what's his name? Fizz's
Yeah.
niece,
Mm-hmm.
and Six is seen as basically Fizz is his father figure. So it could have been
Mm-hmm.
this really weird family dynamic between the three of them, but that I can see that's what they're trying to work towards, but they never
Yeah.
really get there.
I think to play not really play devil's advocate, but kind of argument from the side of what they did here. I think for the type of film that they do, when you want to have that like agent gone rogue thing, if they focus too much on kind of glorifying his like badass skills for the CIA killing, it would flesh him out as like a more gray overall character. But they don't really, I think, want that. So the first mission that you see him go on and be good at, you already have his morals set right. And I think that
Mm.
like it gives it less nuance overall and makes him a less intriguing character. But for a blockbuster, it does make sense. And I think the movie that you were describing is a bit more like unforgiving, maybe on his side. That we root for him ultimately, but he's a difficult character to just grasp. And you can't just say he had daddy issues, protected his brother, and then he's now hunted by the CIA, which is basically the story we get. But like it would be more about him being used for a bunch of stuff that he didn't question, and he only begins to question it when I guess a former Sierra operative tells him that, oh, you might be next. Then it
Mm.
would be a like more self-preserving thing. And when you bring in Claire, then he has like a clear motivation other than self-preservation. Overall, I think action department, if they had focused a bit more on the hand-to-hand combat, that was really solid. I think that one
Oh,
scene
yeah.
between he was fighting Ana de Armas' character. I think that like fight scene was quite solid as well, with like the rope and stuff. There's a couple of really fun things that happen, but it really happens after Vienna, I'd say. Like the action gets better after Vienna, and leaving out that whole Prague messy shootout scene. Let's talk about, I guess, the main antagonistic force in the film with Lloyd. What did you think about Chris Evans?
I also want to talk about Ryan Gosling at the same time
Yes.
because I would say that I have no issue with anyone's performance in this
Hmm.
film. I feel like every character is portrayed and performed extremely well.
Yeah.
But obviously, the two big guys, being Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans' character Six and Lloyd Hansen, I felt that Lloyd was the perfect over the top antagonist
Eccentric guy. Yeah.
that talked a lot of shit and never
Hmm.
really did much until when it came
Yeah.
down to him actually doing stuff. He could actually kick ass a little bit, but he was outmatched when it came to Six's skills.
Hmm.
I enjoyed all of his quippiness and sociopathic behavior, as they say in the film, that he's a sociopath and he really does not care who he kills. And
Yeah.
I found that fun. It's good to have an antagonist like that who's like he seems sweet, he seems nice, he's clean, he's not a single drop of blood on him, and he will
Yeah.
kill literally anybody,
Hmm.
man, woman, or child, to get to what he needs to do. So you pin Lloyd Hansen, a man who's insane and will kill
Hmm.
literally anybody, as I said, man,
Yeah.
woman, or child,
Yeah.
against Six, who literally in the first mission is about to take the shot and kill someone, but there is a kid in the way, and he gets the all clear. Collateral is fine. You can kill everyone and anyone in this. And he's
Hmm.
like, how about no? So you're instantly pinned up against someone who actually has a moral, like humanistic morals, who won't just kill anybody and everybody, and actually is
Yeah.
more than just a killing machine,
Yeah.
but is also a very effective killing machine versus the literal killing machine.
Ryan Gosling is just this super stoic character that I don't know how you felt about like his quippiness sometimes. Do you
I
kind
felt
of
that the quippiness was fine, like,
fine?
because
Yeah.
he's not over the top that
Yeah.
Chris Evans is, but most of the
Hmm.
time he's you can see that he's physically tired, like, after the plane flight, and
Hmm.
he gets down. Like, obviously in the trailer, you've got the, "How are you feeling?" "Well, my ego's a bit bruised." Like, that's quite a
Yeah.
funny line. Then you've obviously got
Hmm.
the ones where he's, "How are you?" That's from Fritz, and, Six goes, "What, emotionally?" And then, he is quite quippy and
Yeah.
funny in a way that is also him tired and sick of this shit. I honestly didn't mind it. As I said, I felt that he held the movie together quite well
Yeah.
with his action. He doesn't really do a lot of, I guess, talking.
Which is perfect for a Ryan Gosling character.
But as I said, I am a Ryan Gosling fanboy. So in the
Yeah.
opening scene when he has a toothpick in his mouth, I was losing my
Frothing.
mind because I was like, "Oh my god, it
That's
is
too
Drive."
much.
And then Ana Diarmas, who, by the way, I completely forgot was in this film, rocks up,
Me
and I'm
too.
like, oh my god, it's Blade Runner 2049. If she
Yeah.
dies, I will literally lose my shit again. And then the last shot, like one of the last shots of the film, is him in a jacket that is so similar to the one he wears in Drive as well. And I was like,
Yeah.
and then there
The
was
Ken doll
a
line, right?
Kendall reference. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, man, this movie is just nailing everything for Ryan Gosling for me. So
Yeah.
I will stand by the fact that I know that Ryan Gosling isn't the greatest actor in the world, and I
You
know
think
that
so?
some of his
I think he's
shut the fuck up.
great.
I know there's a number of people who shut the fuck. I can see it. I can see it in your face, motherfucker.
Well, no,
Um,
I'm not sarcastic. I think he's a great actor.
you sound like the most sarcastic motherfucker right now.
That's just my natural tone. I'm totally
I
being
did not
honest.
hit her. I did not. But Ryan Gosling can do basics quite well, and I love him for it. Because
Yeah.
he just seems to like the characters that he's given are often perfect for him, and that's what
Mhm.
I like about it. Sure, he's no De Niro or he's no Jared Leto, but he is really fun to watch on screen, and I think he does action quite well, like really, really well.
You know, a thought I had while they were like having that final battle and punching each other. I was thinking that that was like reminded me of Civil War and that standoff between Captain America and Iron Man. And I thought like
Mm.
alternate universe, Ryan Gosling as Iron Man, I
As
wouldn't
Iron
mind
Man
it. I wouldn't
would
mind
be
it.
dope. I think I read the other day that he like the only superhero he's kind of interested in playing would be Ghost Rider.
That would be a sick role for him as well. I'm totally not being sarcastic, by the way. I think he's a great performer and he does get
Oh, thank
typecast,
God.
but I think
He
he
does.
does it perfectly. And that's why, like, if you find your niche, that's great. And I also think that Chris Evans breaking out, kind of playing the contrast of what he's usually been playing for the last 10 years in the
Oh,
MCU
100%.
is also
Yeah.
amazing. I loved him. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say other movies because it might give, I'm already giving stuff away, but I'm not saying that right now. I think him playing like a more diverse set of roles is definitely great.
I enjoyed Chris Evans in Knives Out, and that was one of the biggest things since Iron Man. Sorry, since Captain America.
Yeah.
I loved it for it. So
Like they are at their peak physique. They both look so
fuck,
great in this.
ripped,
There's a
ripped.
topless scene with Ryan Gosling, and I was like moving closer to the screen. It's like, oh, okay, that dude got
I was
ripped
like, did he get ripped for this or did he get ripped for Barbie?
just for
Because
fun.
my God,
Oh,
he was popping. I learned about 4 new muscle groups because of this film.
that's a great thing for you, I guess, overall.
Thank you.
But yeah, was there an action scene that stood out to you, or a scene overall that you enjoyed the most?
The final battle, because I
Mm-hmm.
loved the final hand-to-hand combat in well, I guess the final hand-to-hand combat in No Time to Die that was in
Yeah.
the water, and I love
Mm-hmm.
that. I think it just is such a very cinematic way of doing a fight is by having
Yeah.
some kind of wet floor or liquid where water can come up and or you can
Mm-hmm.
drown someone. That's quite fun. I will say having 6 handcuffed to a chair, having to get out of that situation was probably the more entertaining thing for me because he was trying to grab a gun, he was trying to defend. There was that part where he shot 2 bullets, went to go shoot the handcuff, but ran out of bullets, and he had to get another magazine, and more people were coming in. And by the way, shout out to the Prague police, but because they did a pretty much top notch
Obliterated.
job in dying. That is so.
Yeah.
I would say that was probably my favorite action scene. That sequence, especially in the tram, not on top of the tram, in the tram.
In the tram. Yeah, that was solid because again, it's hand to hand combat there. But yeah, I already said I like the Ana de Armas fight. With the rope.
Yes, that was fun.
I was fun as well, and I guess that like the final battle as well. Him having shot off his hand and he punches and then he's like, ow, ow, ow.
Yeah,
It's very eccentric, but I think Evans has enough charisma to play it.
the whole first like hand-to-hand combat sequence in Bangkok was sick, where he was walking, presses the alarm, walks through the
Yeah.
security guards just by picking something up, stabbing him in the neck, taking him out. That was dope, especially
Hmm.
then the shots that go from the building into the fireworks boat. There were a lot of really I must
Yeah.
say this, the cinematography was very good. They took a page out of Michael Bay's book
I was
and
about to say the
drone shot
drones,
the living
right?
shit
But
out
but
of.
only in the second half of the film as well. It didn't appear for the
Oh
first,
man,
and
it didn't seem
it was
that
like they saw the movie and were like, oh, we gotta do that as well.
we gotta
That's the
do that.
impression I
Like,
got.
buy
Yeah,
as many FPV drones as you fucking can right now. Like, we
yeah,
gotta go and get it. Because they were
yeah,
like they were drone shots, but they were still quite tame in the style of it. And then all of a sudden, it was like cut away to a drone shot, do a little couple moments of conversation, and then cut back to a drone shot halfway through a city, going through literal cars to another shot
yeah,
of like Ryan Gosling and Ana de Armas. It was they went crazy with the drone shots post
yeah.
Berlin.
Yeah, that's true. I think something that I found interesting with Cherry, you haven't seen Cherry yet, I think, right?
I've seen Cherry.
Oh, you've seen Cherry.
I've seen the masterpiece that is Cherry.
They also, if I remember correctly, do a bunch of stylistic choices that aren't like
Yeah.
super coherent in the overall narrative, which I felt about. Like I felt the same way about the drone shots. Like there was one shot where it's literally just like going from. I like the shot where it goes from Chris Evans from Lloyd to the boat. I think that was a good thing of like showing the distance. They don't really do
Yes.
anything with that separation
Yes.
then, so it's kind of pointless. But that was a sick shot. One that I found kind of funny is like one of the first times they do it. I think it's in either Prague or Vienna, where it's in Vienna when they drive away, and it's like it pans to like their car as they're driving, and it's like, well, okay, that's just a transition shot. You could have just cut here, and other than showing off like that quick drone shot, there's no purpose for the shot being
Yeah.
that way right there.
I
So
That's exactly the shot I was talking about where it just like cuts towards it, turns like hits a hard
yeah,
left, and I'm pretty sure it's a completely different car as well. I don't think they could decide whether they were using. No, I think they were all Audis, but I thought there was some Kias in there as well. I was like, I don't think they can
right.
decide what car brand they're using
Well,
in
it's
this
good thing we're
film.
giving those brands another shout out right
Yes,
now.
yes, yes.
But yeah,
Not that they need it. I mean, they might need it. They
no.
could be struggling with COVID.
Other than that, to get to the end of our review, let's get to the end of the film. And I'd say to those kind of weirdly paced two endings of the film, where I don't know if you felt the same way, where it kind of like leaves an open ending where
Yeah,
Claire is then used by the CIA and he continues to get used, but then it doesn't end to set up a second film, but it resolves something that they set up straight away. How did you feel about that?
I thought they were just gonna cut and
Yeah,
leave it open enough, or at least maybe have a shot where Claire's like, "Play me really loud," and then you hear a gunshot, and then that's it. Like he escapes,
yeah,
and then you hear a gunshot with Claire, so you don't know if he actually saves Claire or not, or if it was something else.
yeah.
But for me, sure, they could probably do a sequel. They could probably be like, "We've hacked into Claire's pacemaker, and we will literally kill her if you don't do this." And I'm like,
Crank style.
that's what I'm thinking, prank style.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking that they'll
Cranky
do,
gray man.
unless they do like
Yes.
a Sierra 5, because I know there was a 5, not there's a 4 and
Well,
6, but there's no 5 that they talked about. So I
they
guess they
said
can do another
everyone's
Grey Man.
dead. I think
Oh,
what they
did they?
set up kind of, yeah, they said everyone, he's the last one who's no,
I
no,
no,
he's
I
not the last
totally
one
got
who's
that.
back in. I'm wrong because they said they either back in prison or dead. So there's still people who were Sierras in prison. So that's that.
Cool.
And the second thing is that they never show the brother. And that's just an obvious, knowing this is a series of novels that I haven't read, but that's just like that's also fucked up like him. Kind of makes sense for me that he's like maybe the corrupted side of the family or
Yeah.
whatever. So they have to like, that's definitely like a second or a third. Like it could be in the sequel that's the focus. That's the focus. From there, I think it's a really predictable story overall. Like especially that Fitz dies. I was like, as soon as he was introduced and the constellation was there, I was like, okay, the father figure for him needs to die, so he steps in as for her father figure. Like that type of stuff was obvious. Yeah, I think for plot wise, I went in expecting that, kind of got what I expected. So I can't really fault the movie for it, other than the weirdly edited together sequences and the odd CGI at times. But other than that, do we have anything else to talk about, or are you ready to share your rating for the Gray
I
Man?
think if we're gonna quickly summarize what we've discussed so
Yep, yep,
far, the Grey Man delivers on the majority of the action. And if you
yeah,
just want a bit of mindless fun, when this thing comes out on Netflix and you've got the subscription, I feel like a lot of people probably will enjoy it. But
yep,
for me, watching it in cinema, it just didn't feel like people were vibing with it. And I'm
hmm,
saying it that I saw it in a cinema, and there was mm, oh, maybe 6 or 8 people in it, and
Yeah.
at no point was anyone actually chuckling or laughing at any of the quippiness. No one was really, you know, "Ooh, ah," with, like, any of the punches, but
Mhm.
as a bit of mindless fun, the film will deliver on that, so it's a good thing to maybe
Yeah.
just, like, you know, want a nice little action film to throw on. It is going to compete. Now, will I say where does it sit with Netflix's
Better
original
than Red Notice.
action thrillers?
Definitely better than
I would
that.
say it's better than Red Notice. I would
Mhm.
probably say it's
Better
a
than
little bit better than
Extraction?
the Old Guard. I w
Oh, right.
Extraction is a funny one because I never really finished it because I
Right.
just didn't enjoy it as much,
Yeah.
but I
Mhm.
probably would say I guess it is better than Extraction then because I actually
Think
finished
they're
this one.
pretty much on the same level.
So, I would probably say it is one of the better ones. I would say it's
Right, yeah.
one of the better action movies that Netflix has put out, but
Yeah.
it's still not able to deliver where some films are able to deliver. Surely the hand-to-hand combat is not John Wick, and
Yeah.
sure the story is no fucking Scorsese 3-hour epic, and I'm sure the CIA-ness isn't anywhere near as Bourne Legacy style,
Mission
Jack
Impossible-ish.
Reacher, Mission
Yeah.
Impossible-ish
Yeah.
level, but it is at an average level enough in all of those to still be an enjoyable flick, but it
Mhm.
just fails to get you to lock onto something. So I guess it's
Yeah.
something they could work on a sequel if they do want to do a sequel, and probably just say, don't let the Russo brothers do it. Just give it to someone else.
Yeah, I think they are really good with ensembles. I don't know if
Hmm.
they're super well, if they can do character stuff super well. It's what we both thought after watching Cherry, that like the dramatization, they always need like that other bit of stylization, not like
Yeah.
staying in serious moments. And the action movie doesn't need to be serious. It can be quippy and like you enjoy it, like you said. But yeah, maybe if they want to go down the route of what I'd see coming, like the brother versus brother type of story, I think you would have to nail it in the character department, not
Mm.
just in the action. So I wouldn't be against having someone else on, and they're busy with producing like 17 films and movies right now, films and shows right now, anyways. So the Russos are not going to be out of work anytime soon. So yeah, I guess Ryan Gosling will probably return. It's safe to say if like this lands, I'm pretty sure that they would do another one of these. It would have to flop pretty hard because Netflix has to set on something, and I don't think they have something in the movie department that they could like do a series out of that is sustainable and based on something that could just like easily adapt. There's a whole series of books that they could just like take the source material from. So I think we'll definitely see more of the Gray Men. We don't know
I
yet
mean,
what
if
it will be called.
365 can get a part 2, like 365 days can get a part 2, I'm sure this could possibly get a
That's
sequel.
different. I mean, I would be down for a sequel that gets rid of the R. The R rating makes it a different kind of R rating, and it's just the gay man, and it's Ryan Gosling
Mm.
going to town. I would
And I'm
watch
pretty
that.
sure they're also doing an Extraction 2,
Yes,
as
they
well,
are. Yeah,
so
Red Notice.
and
I don't
again,
know,
Red Notice
probably as
2,
well.
so it's
Yeah,
probably a it's probably
a
they'll
lock.
release this on Netflix and be like, "By the way, we're already made 4, 5, and 6. We're just doing what James Cameron did with Avatar,
I
and we're filming them all back to back to back."
Yeah, I couldn't find an interview or an article anymore, but I think like a year or two ago there was rumors, or maybe even like it was said that Ryan Gosling signed a multi-picture deal for this, and he,
Oh.
he wasn't doing that before. But maybe I'm totally off and just going off by what I've heard on and rumors, and it's not true because I couldn't find a source for it anymore.